What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers tonight take care of business against a Nikola Jokic-less Denver Nuggets team, winning by a final score of 119-100. It was a good game for the Blazers backcourt. Damian Lillard and McCollum combined for 57 points. Nas and Ant have solid games off the bench. Norman Powell with 15. A good all-around effort from the team today. Clamped down on defense to end the first half and went on a monster run going into halftime to break away from a Denver Nuggets team that fought hard tonight, but without their three best players, Michael Porter Jr., not Aaron Gordon. Why would I put him in the top three? Hell no. I mean, he was their best player tonight probably, but Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic all being out for Denver is rough. They've been bitten by the injury bug, and this was a game in which I was a little worried about them keeping it close, Eric. I was a little worried about this kind of being a trap game. The Blazers have had some success on this homestand, won 3 in a row, and it seems like in previous years when the team would have that sort of success, they would then have a letdown game. So it's very nice to not only win this game, but to beat Denver by 19 points and just take care of business, get a little bit of rest at the end of the game as the Blazers do play again tomorrow, and get a highlight dunk from Greg Brown III to cap things off. That was fun.
Yes. When they hit a three, I think they went up 46-45 or something before we went on that run. It just felt like we were playing expecting to win when we walked on the floor. And so it was nice to see the intensity pick up at the end of the half there. We finished a quarter off strong for once. And that was really the difference in the game, just getting a little bit of separation right there in the second quarter.
Yeah, that was like I don't know, I don't want to bring them up, because they bring negative vibes thinking about Golden State Warriors runs, but I was sitting there thinking, like, this must be what it felt like to witness a Golden State Warriors run, because the Blazers would go on runs in previous years, but it would never be through them just playing super fast on the break and just playing with ultimate confidence in transition. Normally it'd be some half-court stuff and CJ would have it cooking and just kind of break his guy down one-on-one, but it was like a prime Golden State Warriors type of run there to end the first half in which the Blazers were just getting out and running and just attacking, and it was multiple guys. It was Dame and CJ, and Norm had a couple of moments there, and that made that run all that much more fun. That was maybe the funnest run of the season.
Well, and it started on the defensive end. You get a bunch of steals, one-on-one isolation, and we come up with the ball in those situations. That's not something we're used to. And then to run out of those, I think we at one point it was like 19 points off of like 8 turnovers or something. We were killing them. We were hitting threes off them. And that was really the difference in the game. We took care of the ball. And that stretch in particular, we forced a lot of turnovers, and they were mostly all live ball turnovers where we were running on the other end and had advantage. And I mean, you and I both think that this team could be a lot of fun and get a lot more easy baskets if they ran in transition more. And one way to accomplish that is to get stops and steals on the other end.
Sorry, I was muted. I caught myself super fast. Let's just look at the team stats right off the bat. All right, normally we wait, but I want to illustrate something to that point. The fast break points, Eric, 28-2.
That's awesome.
And I figure going into this game, Denver doesn't have Jokic, so they're going to try and run more, right? They got Will Barton, who likes to run. They got Aaron Gordon, who can run the court. They got guys that they can play a fast tempo with, and without having Nikola Jokic to kind of just dice up the defense in the half court, I thought they were going to play faster. I did not expect us to have a 28-2 fast break point differential. That's a crazy stat to me, and it might not seem crazy to many people, man, but just given Denver's situation going into this game and given how Portland has never been a team to run much, to see them do that against a team that was playing a little bit smaller than them and should have been playing faster than them was extremely impressive, and I think that's the game right there. You look at that and you look at the turnover battle where they turn over the ball 10 more times. We forced them into turnovers. That, of course, helped our runouts and helped our fast break points, but those two stats just jump off the page for me.
Yeah, exactly. The 32 points and compared to 4 for them off of those turnovers too. So not only did we have under 10 turnovers, but we didn't really let that affect us on the defensive end. We still got stops even after those turnovers. So good to see there. And that those numbers all correlate with each other.
Yeah. So shooting wise, it's a good night for the Blazers. Denver, despite their struggle, shoot 46% from three, and that's really what kept them in this game is their 3-point shooting. We got to the line a lot more than they did, but did not continue our free throw shooting. The previous two games before this, we were 50 for 51. Tonight, only 14 for 20. Norm missed a couple. But
CJ missed 2 in a row.
Yeah, but like when we hit a higher percentage of shots than they did, and we also out rebounded them on the offensive glass 13-7. So if they're turning over the ball that much and you're grabbing more offensive rebounds than they are, you're just going to have more shots. And that was the situation. 9 more free throws than them and 11 more field goal attempts. And with how good the Blazers are offensively, if they can get into a position where they're just getting more shots than the other team, it's going to be really hard to beat Portland. But you have to do that by turning over the other team. That's the biggest factor that plays into that. So that's where the defense comes in, and good defense leads to good offense. And the best thing you can do is force turnovers in today's NBA when you got guys that can run the floor, guys that can go on, runs that the Blazers did to end that half. I mean, you get good defense leads to good offense, man, and that's how you go on runs. You do get it done on both sides of the floor, and they can kind of build momentum on both sides, so to say. And it's just fun to see this team actually step up for some steals. CJ got a couple of deflections / steals there on that run, had a run out dunk, and then you got Dame hitting threes, and it's just like that backcourt. Those two specifically during that run was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know it's blasphemy to compare anything to the Warriors, but what that did definitely have a Warriors-esque feel to it, and it was a lot of fun.
I just want to have that run where we're making the opposing crowd go quiet. That's what I'm waiting for, man, because that's fun in its own way.
Yeah, because that team definitely knew how to translate that to away games. So big test tomorrow night to see if this play can continue.
Yep. Let's thank some dono. Shout out to Carlton Pagano Jackson, a.k.a. the real Jackson. $5 dono. He says, great W. Just got to translate this to road games and will be a serious problem for the league. We're getting more comfortable, it seems. And it was funny going into this game how Stan Van Gundy was like, this is one of the best teams in the league when they're at home and one of the worst teams in the league when they're on the road. And it's like, yep, he understands. And that's the thing, man. That's why the team they've been at home is why I was confident in this roster. Like, everything they've done at home is why I believed in this roster. They're 9-1 at home. Obviously, you're going to be a little better at home than on the road, but it's just like they should not be anywhere near as bad on the road as they have been. So if they can figure that out, man, this is an extremely dangerous team. An extremely dangerous team. And Dame is getting out of his slump. That's nice to see. But that's the thing is we're 9-1 at home with Dame having some very poor shooting nights. Because we're not just winning off the back of Dame. We're winning off, CJ having some good games to start the year. Norman Powell having some good games. Anfernee Simons went on a tear early. Nassir Little has stepped up. Larry Nance Jr. had a good stretch during this homestand. And then we're winning it by playing good defense at home, which you saw tonight, only holding Denver to 100 points.
Yep, for sure.
So appreciate Carlton Pagano Jackson with that dono. Shot near 012, $5 dono. He says, easily the best team offense of the season. The ball was moving great tonight. Hopefully this is what we see from now on. Appreciate you, near 012. Do you agree? Do you think this was our best ball movement game tonight?
I mean, we've shown flashes, I guess maybe for the whole game. Yeah. Especially the first half. Other than Dame took a heat check 3 from like 30 foot, and he made us one because he was a little more open in the second half. But other than that, and there was one time where CJ went kind of he had a fast break and it wasn't really there, and he kind of forced a baseline 15-footer that probably wasn't a good shot. But if we're talking about like 2 shots the entire half that I'm thinking are questionable shots, and it's by 2 guys that had 2 of the more efficient halves they've had in a very, very long time. It's hard to like nitpick that. So I would say yes. Ball movement wise, I mean, there's been games where we passed the ball well, but like just in terms of that leading to shot selection and getting good shots, I felt like this was probably our best game. I'd probably agree with that.
Here is the thing about it. It's easier to move the ball when you're able to run. When you get guys in space, the passes are a lot more obvious and the defense is absolutely not set. So it's in a situation where they're forcing a lot of turnovers. I'm not trying to take away from the team here, but in a situation where they force a bunch of turnovers, it's easy to get out and run and make the right pass and kind of swing the ball around that way. And this team, normally when they try, does a pretty good job of moving the ball in transition. I still think the half court can get better in terms of ball movement. I think it was solid today. It wasn't bad at all. It's like when it comes down to when you have a lot of defensive pressure in the half court and maybe your offensive set ended up breaking down, are you able to freelance and move the ball against a set defense in a way that gets good shots? I'm still kind of waiting to see that consistency there.
And that leads me to preview Brant's breakdown tonight, because the first few slides are going to be examples of what we talk about when we say we need a cutter or off-ball action. And that was kind of my focus of my pictures tonight. And so I'm just going to present some ways where we could make our offense even more efficient and get better shots through movement and passing. So that'll be fun to show those in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll get into that in about 5 minutes or so.
I wouldn't say it now.
Yeah. It's just perfect segues, man. Perfect segues. I like good segues. Shout out BR Swerve, $5 dono. He says, Dame is back. Life is good. Dame absolutely looks back. And I can officially say his shot no longer correlates with mine because I shot horribly today. I directly gave it 6. My legs were dead the whole game, so I don't know. Maybe if I got warm and played a second game or a third game, my shot would have been falling, but I shot horribly today, and Dame did not. So this was maybe his best shooting game on the season. There's officially no correlation there. And it's also nice that Dame only plays 31 minutes. That's the thing. You look at this, and it's like Dame has 25 points, and you think, oh, Dame having 25 points, that's nothing, right? But in a game where he can't get to the free throw line, he's still not getting the same calls as last year.
He took 12 shots, right?
He took 13 shots.
13 shots, yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't like super aggressive hunting his own shot because CJ had it. CJ was 13 for 19. So Dame made the right play, didn't force things, took what was there. He shot a 30-footer when Campazzo went under and he knocked it down. He also hit a sidestep. So that's kind of what I was waiting for Dame.
2 sidesteps, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for Dame to do before I was like, okay, yeah, he's back. Because he had a good game, 39-point game, but he wasn't hitting like those types of shots. He was 5 for 13 from 3 last game, and it wasn't like the insane threes that he normally hits, right? I think he missed a couple sidesteppers and then missed a couple 30-footers and wasn't knocking down those types of shots, which we know him for. So I was waiting for him to hit a couple sidesteps going to the right and then hit a 30-footer, and he did that tonight, 5 for 8 from the three-point line.
Yeah, well, I'm the opinion that he was never anywhere to be back from, but yeah, nice to see him hit some normal Dame shots tonight.
And I said that in my mailbag that I dropped earlier today. If you haven't watched it, feel free to watch it after this stream. But somebody asked me if Dame was back, and it's like Dame, he's a shooting slump. It's a shooting slump. Maybe a little bit to do with the new ball. Maybe a little bit to do with fatigue. He played in the Olympics, and the season went a little bit later last year than he's used to. So he had much less of an offseason than he's used to. But, it's everybody's like, oh, he's just not right. He's so injured, when he's like barely missing shots short and then barely missing shots long. And he's just automatically injured because of that. And I know the ab thing, but he's been playing with that for 2 years. Like, it's more of just kind of
2 best seasons he had the abs.
Yeah. So it's not anything out of the ordinary there, So I saw so many people say, oh, you got to shut him down for a few weeks. And everybody's playing doctor, right? Like, no, it's a shooting slump. Some of the best players go through big shooting slumps. And if this slump happened in the middle of the season, people wouldn't have freaked out as much because it would be like, oh, he's still shooting 38% from 3. It's just a slump. He's been shooting well all year. But when it happens at the start of the year, people 12 games in will go to his stats page and see him shooting 28% and they'll freak out. So, is he washed this year? Is this the year where he finally falls off? I heard all sorts of stuff with Dame, and no, I was out there trying to tell people, like, he'll be fine. Relax. It's Damian Lillard. He's going to be just fine. And tonight he looked more than just fine. He looked great.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I saw on Twitter, like, oh, he needs to take more shots if he's shooting like this. It's like, no, he doesn't, and this is why. We win the game by 19. He doesn't have to do that. We shouldn't need him to do that. But if this was a close game, let's say Jokic was playing and we needed him to do more, it's there to do if he needs to. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason for him to force those shots with the quality of looks we were getting in this game. So it's good that he can have a super efficient night, still score 25 points, still leave some out there that he could maybe force in another game when he has to. But this is the whole point of having a good ball movement offense. Both are guys, I mean, if Dame and CJ in the past were this on fire, they're both shooting like 28 to 30 shots probably in this game. And we probably still win because, you know, the Nuggets were missing their whole team. But, like, those are the kind of situations where just improve the efficiency, improve it. This is something that we can maybe expect when they get these type of shots consistently within the offense. And I really like the fact that they didn't force a lot of shots tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then shout out to the final, we got two more donos. BC $2 dono, he says 90 watching, only 39 thumbs up. We're at 230, so I don't know where you got the 90 watching, but definitely hit that like button.
The exclamation was a 1. I think he just...
Oh, exclamation was...
It was 190.
I noticed that if you go on, if you watch a live stream on mobile, at least on my phone, and, like, say you...
Mobile?
Mobile. Oh my god. Yeah.
Mobile.
Mobile, like Mobile, Alabama. Like if you start watching at the start of a stream where there's only 50 people, it won't update. So it'll just say 50 like permanently. I don't understand why that's the case on mobile, but that is the case. But yeah, definitely hit that like button. It's the easiest way to help us out. Show some love and hit that like. We don't ask for likes enough, so people have started to do it for us. Appreciate the assist on that, BC, with the $2 dono. And then shout out Robert South, $2 dono. He says, deja vu dunk from Brown. We'll talk about that when we get to tweets of the game, because that was a fun moment. I mean, we can talk about it now if you want. I mean, the dude is just insane, but we do have a tweet from a teammate in tweets of the game.
I cannot believe he did it in that situation, because it's not like he was... I mean, the defender wasn't really going to contest it, but he wasn't as open as he was last time either. So to do that in that situation, that was crazy, man. I couldn't believe he went in between the legs there, and that was awesome to see. And he kind of looked at the bench. I was wondering if he was going to be in trouble for doing that, but man, let this guy do whatever he wants in garbage time. Who cares? I mean, if this is a close game and he's getting minutes, then you don't want to try that stuff. You just want to make sure you finish it. But in that situation, yeah, man, give the crowd what they want and entertain them. So I'm all for that. And that was just an amazing dunk to see that by a Blazer in a game go between the legs. I asked this in chat earlier. I didn't really see any responses. Tori thought maybe that had been done before in games. I don't really remember someone going between the legs in an actual NBA game.
I think Will Barton did. Didn't he do it in that San Antonio game we won? Or am I thinking of a preseason game and thinking it was that San Antonio playoff game that we won in Dame's second year? I don't know. But I'm sure it's been done. I don't remember either, but I'm sure it has. Mm-hmm. Ricky Davis, says Aeromancer.
Ricky Davis did it, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's definitely rare. Rare, and that was a cool dunk. But like, there's been some other insane in-game dunks too. Like Paul George's 360 windmill, I think, was up there as like a dunk contest dunk in games. But it wasn't between the legs. But it's just always cool when somebody breaks that out. It breaks out a dunk that you normally would never even come close to seeing in a game. It's more of a dunk contest thing, but they have a break, so they decide to pull it out. Ricky Davis failed when he did it once, but did it another time. See, that's the thing. Greg Brown makes it look easy. Yeah, like it's so casual to him. It's so easy to him. But I mean, that's just a fun way to cap a blowout. So
Man, I remember when it was such a big deal when J.R. Ryder did it in a dunk contest, and he had to have like the perfect angle, and like no one was doing it then, and now it's like the dude can just get a steal and dribble up the court against like NBA players and still do it on the fly like that. It's amazing to me.
Now, if somebody does that in a dunk contest, it's like, oh, that's
Right.
all you got? You know what I mean?
Now
It's
you gotta
crazy
go
how the
like
bars
under
move.
both legs or do something crazy.
I mean, like, and Aaron Gordon was one of those guys that raised the bar, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if he gets up the same. He had that nice dunk there in the second half, but I don't know if he gets up the same as he was earlier in his career, because it seems like he has a little bit more mass to him now that he's in Denver. So I don't know. I mean, Greg Brown is a sleeper for the dunk contest, would be fun. I mean, Greg Brown and Nas are two guys that could be solid participants. We got some athletes off that bench for sure. For sure.
And then real quick, this wasn't a dono, but shout out to Jake Sports. He says, I'd like to send you guys a cool rookie card of your favorite player to thank you guys for doing the stream. I have a sports card store and one of the biggest Blazer collections you've ever seen.
Ooh, sick.
That'd be awesome. If you're on Twitter, just hit us up on Twitter or whatever. But that would be cool to do.
Also, if you want a little free promo in return, maybe we can hook you up on that as well, because that's a pretty cool thing to have. Alrighty, let's jump into Brandt's breakdown. Let's jump into things here. We got 3 plays that Eric is going to show us today. Play number 1. Let me max this out. You got the turnover thing there. I assume that's probably not part of it. What is play number 1?
All right, so pick and roll with Zeller and Ant. Ant finds Zeller in the middle of the key. Nas's guy, Austin Rivers, is guarding him, and you can see he is all the way in the middle of the key. And now, in this situation, you have Nassir Little in the corner, right? We know he can probably hit that if he's wide open. But this is an example of how, if you just cut, you would have a highlight dunk or a wide open shot, lay-in, whatever. In this situation, I don't want Nas to shoot this 3. I want him to just dive to the basket right here. Zeller can just lob it up to him or dump it between Dozier and Rivers there, and Nas would have a wide open lane to the hoop instead of settling for a 3 as you go to the next slide. So by the time the pass gets to him, he's pretty open. Dozier tries to come down, puts a hand up. Nas ends up missing this 3. Even if he makes it, I'd just rather take an easy dunk or an easy lay-in that situation rather than that. And when we talk about recognizing when the right times to cut or dive are, this is a play I'm talking about, especially if that's Nassir Little versus like Dame or CJ or Norm or someone in the corner. I want to see them cut in that situation, much like I wanted to see Derek Jones do it all last year. And we got a little bit of the Stotts fence here where you have to stay in the corner or whatever. I'd rather have this be a highlight alley-oop dunk than a missed 3.
Yeah, I mean, this situation we ended up a lot in when teams would trap Dame and Alfred Camino would be in Nas's position in the corner. And people would say, well, what do you want, Stotts? What do you want the team to do? Alfred Camino isn't a good enough shooter to help the Blazers beat the trap. And I'd literally just be sitting here like, just go to the rim and get a dunk. Like, it's a wide open runway. If he, Nas at this point should already be cutting. You see your guy step up that high, you just got to recognize that right off the bat and go. He should be kind of around the block. That should just be an easy bounce pass straight into a dunk. No dribbles needed. There's no way they can stop that if Nas cuts there, because they have overextended the help all the way up to the dotted line, right? You don't want to help that high if you're that low man, because you just get cut behind you. And that's what a lot of good teams do, is that guy will cut. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with this. I love that you showed a play like this, because I've talked about this on previous streams lately. Just diving baseline, cutting baseline. It's a very simple thing, but when you're an athlete, if it's Nance, if it's Little, I want them to do it. Even if it's Powell, which Powell's automatic from the corner, but I'll take a 100% chance at a dunk, then I mean, maybe it's not a 100% chance. Robert Covington would probably say otherwise, but I'd probably take a dunk compared to an open three. Like either way, that's a great shot if it's Norm, and an even greater shot in my opinion if it's Norm cutting baseline dunking. So even if it's a guy like that, I would take it.
Well, and here's the thing: in the playoffs against a good defensive team, this rotation is going to be a little quicker, so it might not be as open as it was in this game. Whereas that dunk would always be open in that situation. So I'd rather get the easy 2 points than risk a pressure three, like in a tough situation in the playoffs where the pressure is on for a guy like Nas to hit an open three. I'd rather him just get an easy dunk and not have to worry about it.
And that's the thing. If they somehow rotate and take it away, then you just kick out to an even better shooter than Nas and probably get a better shot anyway. So,
and to the people saying, no way, take the three all day, we get plenty of threes. It's not a situation where I'm saying you always have to take the two or whatever, but like, how many times do we have opportunities? I mean, tonight was a rare case where we did get out in transition and get some open shots, but there isn't a lot of times where we get open shots in our half-court offense, and this is an example of one where we could have gotten a wide-open lay-in or dunk. And, yeah, so I'd rather just take that. There was plenty of other chances. Nas got plenty of threes in this game. I don't think he needs to necessarily just sit in the corner and shoot.
Yeah, I agree. That and Aeromaster sums it up pretty well. 40% on a three is worse than 95% on a two. It just becomes odds, and you'll take both those odds, any day. But I would rather have the better odds. We're talking about a solid shot versus a great shot, and that's the theme. The best teams in the league get great shots.
Yeah.
They get higher shot quality, and that's how you are able to have a good offense in the playoffs. Instead of relying on a guy like Nassir Little to hit threes when he hasn't really been shooting the ball super consistently, and he ended up missing this shot. I'll take the automatic two all day long. That's a great play to show. All right, play number 2, Eric. What we got here?
All right, so this one is just one particular play, but Dame ends up kicking out to Norm in the corner once again, but I want to see him just throw it up to the rim for Nurk in this situation. So Nurk's guy comes out to cut Dame off, and by the time Powell catches the ball, he doesn't have a shot. Now he ends up taking a dribble and taking a fadeaway, like 15-footer that he gets fouled on, so he goes to the line. But this is where Dame's next evolution could be. All you have to do, and this will help Nurk's finishing as well, just throw it up at the rim right here, and Nurk's got an easy put in or dunk. And I'd like to see him throw that lob as soon as the guy guarding Nurk commits to that, if Nurk is in this dunker spot right here.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that guy in between Nurkic and Dame basically has to choose. Dame can either get a floater himself if that guy doesn't step up, or maybe even get to the rim, or he has that lob pass over the top. It's a pretty simple play to make. And here's the thing, is like Nurkic doesn't even expect it. Like Nurkic isn't necessarily ready for that because Dame doesn't throw this pass.
Yeah.
And CJ doesn't really throw this pass.
And usually Dame will only throw this pass is if he has the bounce pass. So he doesn't quite have the angle at the bounce pass, but that's why this is the perfect time to just lob it up, especially since not only is Denver playing small in this game, but the two greens are not even on Nurk. He got switched onto someone else in this possession. So both the greens are out guarding guys on the perimeter, and Nurk would have had an easy dunk there.
Yeah, agreed. All right, third and final play. We got 3 slides to this one. What is this first slide showing?
Now, this is a play out of a timeout that I absolutely loved. It ends with the ball getting knocked out of bounds, but we'll see why in a second. So the inbound pass goes to Rocco, and Dame sets a down screen for Nurk. And then the next slide has Nurk coming up top. He hands off to CJ. And then Dame comes up and it sets a back screen for Robert Covington. And now this is why I want to use Dame off ball. You watch his gravity on this play as you go to the last slide. Aaron Gordon is nowhere near Robert Covington on this. He's too busy worrying about Dame coming off this pick cleanly for an open three, and Covington slips, and unfortunately the pass is a little late, so Covington catches it under the rim. But this is just an excellent design of a play and just shows you how, if we utilize off-ball movement correctly, it should have led to a wide-open lay-in here. And the guy from Norm's guy in the corner, I think it's Monte Morris, ends up coming down to cut Covington off, but he was behind the rim. So, like I said, if the pass was a little sooner, it would have been a lay-in. And if that guy rotates over, Robert was ready to throw the pass to the corner. It got knocked out of bounds, but Powell was just standing there wide open, waiting for a corner three. So even if Covington doesn't shoot that, if he gets the pass through, Norman has no one near him and has a wide open three. So I just love the way this play was set up, the multiple off-ball screens, the multiple action, and if they start sagging back and following Robert Covington, that's where Dame curls off a Nurk screen right here and is probably open for a three because of it.
Yeah. And this is what I complained about last year, is we didn't have any designed screens or cuts. I mean, maybe we would have one here or there, but we didn't have enough designed action where somebody was going to the rim off the ball, right? Everything was kind of looping around the arc, and Dame would get a pin down to come out to the arc and catch the ball and then make something happen. That was like too much of our offense, where you could still have, Dame coming off a screen, but have him set a back screen first, and he draws so much attention. You can get this wide open, and then you can spark good ball movement. If Norm's guy helps onto Rocco, that's a kick-out pass and an open shot, and you get the defense in scramble mode, and you manufacture good shots. That's the best shot to shoot off of, by the way, is a pass coming straight from underneath the rim, because you're able to get square and already kind of have vision of the rim before you even catch the ball. So that's something that I wanted more of, and it's very simple. It's not hard to run this, right? And then Dame comes off this Nurkic screen. It's a very basic set out of the out of bounds, but it's effective. And Chauncey's inbounds plays this year have been good. I like what Chauncey's been running. The inbounds plays are impressive. Now, I want to mix it up with maybe like Nas off that back screen, so it can just be a lob, or Larry Nance Jr. off that back screen, so it can be a lob. And CJ has thrown that lob in the past couple of games. I mean, that's the thing, is if you got a lob target, even Ant in that situation off a lob, I think could absolutely go up and get a lob pass from CJ there. And that's the thing, is you make defenders worry about other players. Nobody's worrying about Rocco if he's just sitting in the corner, right? You just don't want to let him get an open catch and shoot three. That's it. But if you're utilizing him in action like this, you're worried about Rocco getting a layup. And at that point, he's a problem. So that takes away attention from Dame, and then Dame can get going if they guard Rocco correctly, because most likely Campazzo is going to be maybe a little bit more behind the play, or, Eric Gordon isn't going to be able to help them. Like, that's the thing, is just running good offense can help open everything up for everyone, and that's where I said growing pains with Dame slump early. Maybe it's partly the new offense, but it's worth it, because you're going to be able to, in the long run, get Dame higher quality shots and get other players higher quality shots, and it's going to be harder to guard the team in the postseason than if you just have Dame dribbling against a set defense. So I love this type of stuff. I'm really glad. I love the 3-play selection you got today.
And the other thing about this too is we haven't run this play very much. So next time CJ might be just a second quicker on that pass, like I said, and then it leads to a dunk. So he could recognize on this play, it's Aaron Gordon, what he does just a step sooner. It was kind of weird because Nurk got the ball at top. I didn't know if it was supposed to be, and then he hands it off to CJ. So I didn't know if he was supposed to wait for the screen and CJ just came up, or if he was supposed to set the off-ball screen, or maybe it's his choice there. But so as they get comfortable running different stuff off ball, your reaction time to what the defense is doing and what plays are open. It's like being a quarterback, you don't know before the snap who's going to be open on that play. You know who's supposed to be open, but the defense might play it differently than you expected, and you have to go to your second option or whatever. But the quicker you can recognize that, the better you'll be in plays like this. So I think as long as they keep running Dame off ball action, he sets 2 screens on this, and it results in a wide open player just because of his gravity. So I really like this action.
Yep. Great breakdown. Good segment of Brant's breakdowns there. All right. Dawn and Jay, Tor, appreciate the 100...
Rupee.
Eric, help. Rupee. Okay. Donna J.
Rupees.
Tor, appreciate the 100 rupee donation. He says, shout out to Krish Graphics, Kevin, Zach, Reese, Trevin, Vivin, Amog, Eric, Tori, and both the Ians, the whole Blazers org and team. Let's go, Rip City, baby. Yeah, shout out to all of them. Shout out to the mods and Krish especially for helping us run this stream smoothly. They do a great job. And appreciate you for the dono. It's a fun atmosphere in here, man, after the team does well, and it's fun to see the team do things that we've wanted them to do. It's just crazy how night and day it is with this team in certain games, and is reflected in the whole mood after a game in the stream. I love being on a 4-game winning streak, though, and having, just a really fun chat experience, because it's been fun on this homestand to actually read chat. Before that, it was a little bit rough, so it's nice to be back and, all positive and supportive, just like this team right now. That has now moved to 10-8, so they went at 4-0 on the homestand. We were asking for 3-1, they did better. Now they go on a road, and we'll look at the upcoming schedule coming up next. Anything else team-wise, Eric?
No, I mean, part of that was they did catch a couple breaks with Embiid and Jokic both missing the last couple games, so thank you to, I guess, the luck there. That was nice. But yeah, I don't know. I feel comfortable that we would have played well, even if those guys played. Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, we beat Denver by 19 tonight, and we went on a run there. I mean, if they have Jokic, it's definitely closer, but I still think we end up winning this game. And, I mean, with how much bad luck we've gotten, we can't complain about it. And that just means that, we only have 2 games left against Denver, and we have no games left against Philadelphia. We have games left against some bottom feeders. We've only really played one legitimate bottom feeder. That was Houston. So we still got, I think we have one of the easiest schedules left in the league, especially after this road trip is completed.
And on TNT, they broke down our schedule for December, and then which is mostly home games. And then also, I think our first 4 games in January are at home as well. I think that's what they said. So it'll be interesting to see how long this home road winning streak lasts, because there's a lot of home games in December, and I mean, some of them are going to be tough, but some of them are very winnable as well.
Yeah, let me find what it was, because there's a situation where after this road trip, we only have 4 road games until January 13th. So when we're doing the post-game show on Monday, November 29th, after the Utah Jazz game, which is the 3rd and final game on this upcoming road trip, from November 29th to January 13th, we only have 4 road games. That's crazy. So this is the chance to really make a push. And I just want to come out of this road trip well. I said I want this team to be 12-10 after 22 games, given the difficulty of schedule early on and some of the growing pains I expected this team to go through. And they're at 10-8. They're at 10-8. So they got Detroit last game of the month on the 30th of November. That's a game at home, so they should definitely take care of that. You just got to win one game on this upcoming road trip. You got Sacramento, you got Golden State, you got Utah, who's been slipping a little bit lately. So it's a chance to be fine after this month. But if you can win 2 of these road games coming up, then it's a situation where you get the road woes out of the way and carry some home momentum onto the road for once, and you head into the month of December with a bunch of home games with your home crowd behind you. So I really think the Blazers are in a very solid position right now, despite how bad things looked at times earlier in this month.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Don and Jay Torrey with another 100 rupee donation says, what will be your keys to the game for our upcoming road stint?
I mean, just do what we did tonight. Just play with energy, get out and run, make some shots. You got to have attention to detail on defense. Everything just comes down to this team doing what they're supposed to do. That's why it's hard to preview games, when we play the right way, we're extremely good. But on the road, we are extremely far away from that. So I don't care what the other team does. I care about, okay, we need to play the way we're supposed to play. And then if we're doing that, then we can look at the other team. Because Golden State's good enough to still beat us, even if we play the right way. Even if we play a good brand of basketball that gives us our best chance at beating that team. They can still beat us in that situation. And in that situation, it could, it will probably be close, in my opinion, if we play the right way, because I think this team is extremely good when they play the right way. And after that game, I'd be sitting there like, you know what, Golden State played a really good game. That's why they're one of the best teams in the league right now. The Blazers played well as well. This is a much better loss than some of the earlier road losses. So that's the thing, is there's no moral victories per se, but you just got to control what you can control to give yourself the best chance. So when it comes to talking about future games, I just wanted to see this team consistently do what they've done at home on the road, and then we can start talking about, okay, what's the other team doing? Maybe some areas of refinement, but we've just been so far off. It's all about us at this point.
Yeah, I've been saying this since our last road trip. I want to see them maybe just first 2 or 3 possessions blitz the pick and roll or any screens, just hard trap, just do something creative to maybe force a turnover and maybe jumpstart one of those beginning of the game runs like we had in the second quarter tonight with a turnover, and get some momentum going that way, get some energy flowing through, get an easy bucket for one of our good players, and maybe they feel more comfortable later on because of it. I just think we need to do something just to kind of jumpstart us energy-wise right at the beginning of the game. I'm hoping that just the fact that we haven't had a lot of energy on the road can translate to that, but if we have a conservative defense, it kind of leads to you kind of laying back and being kind of nonchalant on that end, whereas if you're pressuring the ball, even if you have some breakdowns on rotations or whatever, it makes those passes harder to get to those open players. So I'd like to see them come out with sort of a trapping style or an aggressive blitzing defense, especially against Sacramento, where even if you get hurt by that, you still theoretically should be able to come back or be in the game, even if you give up some easy baskets early.
Yep, agree. So you ready to go to player cards?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump into things here. We're going to start off with... I'll wait for it to pop up here. Here we go. CJ. Chris is getting good with these. CJ, Aaron Gordon, McCollum. You got to love all the people that really, really wanted Aaron Gordon for CJ McCollum in a trade. And Aaron Gordon had a good game by his standards tonight, but CJ was much better. I mean, you flip CJ, you put CJ on Denver, and CJ probably has at least 40 tonight with the way he shot the ball. And this is a much closer game. I am happy to have CJ McCollum on my team and not Aaron Gordon. I thought Aaron Gordon did better. 11 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 5 for 9 from the field. And wasn't a Dame stopper, wasn't a CJ stopper. We always talk about this guy, Aaron Gordon, being, this great on-ball defender and, that you can throw up against a Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum and he can shut them down. But that didn't happen tonight. Both Dame and CJ combined to shoot 22 for 32 from the field. Dame 9 for 13, CJ 13 for 19. CJ with a 32-point game tonight. I enjoyed this performance. Had some good defensive moments as well. A couple steals there. Kind of played within the flow of things and ISO'd a couple times. But when a guy has it going like this tonight, I don't mind CJ ISOing when he's having a night where he's 13 for 19 from the field. So overall, just a very terrific game from Christian James McCollum.
Yeah, and as Adam Smith says in chat, we love to see efficient CJ, and I'll take efficient CJ all day. Felt like his shot selection was pretty good in this game, one of his better shot selection games of the year, and I think that's why it correlates to a good efficiency, and I felt like he played within the offense for a lot of this game as well.
Yep, agreed. Anything else you want to say on CJ?
I thought his defense was probably the best defensive game he's played all year as well, including some of the early season games as well.
I would put the Phoenix game at home up there because I thought he was terrific that game, shutting down Devin Booker. But yeah, this is definitely in that conversation. Good to see him have a good defensive game because he kind of had slipped on that end since his hot start to the season. But this is the thing with CJ is it's like a lot of times I feel like his how well he's shooting the ball affects how hard he's defending. And that can't be the case. I don't think it's a surprise that, like, he has 32 points, and then we're also talking about, like, oh, yeah, his defense was really good today. But when he has 11 points and struggles to shoot the ball, I feel like his defense isn't as good either. There's, like, a correlation there that shouldn't be as heavily correlated.
The only thing I'll say to that is he kind of got on a hot streak in that second quarter with defense. I mean, I know he hadn't really missed a shot in the game, but he hadn't really shot that much before that stretch. So I think that kind of, his defense kind of led to him getting going with the dunk, and I think got an open three in transition. So I think that kind of helped tonight. And I think you're right on most nights, but tonight I felt like he played good defense the whole game. Even at the beginning when we gave up several open threes, those were mostly not his rotation or his fault on overhelping or anything like that. So I felt like from the beginning he was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it may explain a few buckets, but I don't think it's the entire picture tonight. And I don't know, it's just I feel like that's the case over multiple games, So I don't know. It just seems like some guys are, if they have the shot going, they get amped up and they transfer that to defense and they play good defense, and I would hope that CJ, when he's struggling to shoot the ball, maybe takes a little bit of a backseat offensively and uses that energy for the defensive end. But it just seems, I don't know, there seems to be a correlation there in my opinion.
So. Yeah, there's also a correlation with missing a bunch of shots and having a hard foul on the other end.
Yeah, let's just move on to Damian. Bang! Lillard had a lot of bang moments tonight. 25 points, 5 assists. Only 31 minutes. You like to see that. Let's see how much. CJ played 34 minutes. Dame played 31. I was hoping to keep them under 30 apiece, but I'll take this for Dame. The Blazers play tomorrow night, so you don't want to be playing these guys 38 minutes just to be a Jokic-less Denver Nuggets team. So it's nice that Dame's sitting here at 31 minutes. I think that's the most important takeaway looking forward out of this game. I know people will look at shooting and be like, he's back. He's going to go on a tear now, but I think just being able to only play him 31 minutes matters, and I don't know, like, I don't think necessarily this means he's going to have a fantastic game tomorrow, but I definitely like the way he's trending. He's trending upwards, and normally he has good games against the Kings. I mean, he comes off a game in which he has 39 points and then has 25 today on insanely efficient shooting. Only one turnover for his five assists, and I thought he had a couple of moments defensively where I was like, come on, Dame, you got to give better effort than that. But then he had some other moments where it's like he's playing good defense as well. So what were your thoughts on him tonight?
Just awesome game from Dame. Love that he doesn't force shots even though he's on fire. I mean, he does occasionally, but not like to the detriment of the team or anything. I still loved his playmaking tonight. Like you mentioned earlier, it's nice to see him hit the type of threes he was hitting tonight, the step back, side step, and the long range 30-footer. So really good overall game from Dame. And he did it, and for the most part, in my opinion, without really having to work extremely hard. I mean, I know those side step threes are really hard to hit, but outside of those two, it's not like he was like struggling all game to get shots or to break down a defense or anything like that. He just had a nice, easy flow to this game, it felt like, and I felt like he was comfortable, and that led to his success.
Yeah, and here's what I'll say about his side step threes. This is just my take on it, from like somebody that has tried to study jump shooting and whatnot. I feel like on his side step threes, he wasn't getting square enough from the start of his shot, and then he was over-rotating in the air, and a lot of times he was missing left when he was doing his sidestep shots. In this game, it seemed like he was making more of an effort to sidestep and kind of be square when he was coming off the ground, so he didn't have to rotate as much in the air while he's going through his shot motion, and I think it translated to him not over-rotating and missing left on those types of shots, and that's why maybe he shot a little bit better on that. I could be completely wrong. That's just kind of my take from watching it, but obviously I'd have to compare the two different, his shots from previous games compared to his shots now, but that might be a thing. I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on and talk about Norman Quiet 15 Powell. 15 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, so we filled up the stat sheet a little bit. And 5 for 10 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. Not a super efficient 3-point shooting night, but was 4 for 5 inside the arc, attacked well, got to the line, 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Would like to see him do better in that. He's been a guy who's kind of been iffy with free throws for a shooter of his caliber. He's just one of those guys where it's like, dang, you can shoot 43% from 3 and 50% from the field, but like you can't shoot 80% from the free throw line. I don't know what he was. Let me check what he was shooting free throw wise going into this game. But overall, I thought this was a solid game from him. Didn't force too much. Played some good D. Had a couple good passes. So just kind of played a good, well-rounded game.
Yeah, like to see him hit a couple more of those threes, but for the most part, once again, solid game from Norm.
Yeah, and he was shooting. I'm wrong, Eric. He was shooting 83% from the free throw line going into today. It just seems like it's worse. I don't know why. Do you get that same feeling, or?
No, I mean, he misses sometimes, but he gets to the line more often than a CJ, so it doesn't hurt his percentages as much, I think.
Yeah. After this game, he's still above 80%. So I was wrong. Last year he was 87%. For his career, he's 84%. So he's a better free throw shooter than I thought. I can admit that I was wrong on that one. It's just, I don't know. It's whenever I feel like it happens in bunches for him when he misses free throws. Like he'll either go 5 for 5 from the free throw line, or he'll go like 4 for 6. Like I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that as well. It just seems like he misses in bunches, which is why
5 for 5 or 4 for 6.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know what you're
dude.
saying.
Like, I'm saying, like, if he misses one in a game, he's gonna miss the second one, basically, or he's gonna go perfect. Like, I'd have to look at his game log, and I'm probably completely wrong on that as well. I don't know why it feels so. I don't know why it feels like he's not an 80% free throw shooter. It feels to me like he's worse. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to make sense of it, but yeah. Let me just look at his game log here. I mean. Yeah, I'm kind of wrong. Okay, this whole player card is just me being wrong, guys. Here you go. Congratulations, you got me. But any other thoughts on his game that are not wrong, Eric?
No, let's just move on.
Let's just move on from this tragedy. All right, you got Mr. Simons, 14 points, 5 boards, 2 assists in 23 minutes. 2 for 5 from the 3-point line, you'll take that. He was 4 for 7 inside the arc, you'll take that as well. He's kind of been struggling a little bit with his shot lately, so it's nice to have him make some. It wasn't a super efficient night. Like, he was having crazy efficient nights to start the season, but it's an efficient night nonetheless for him.
Yeah, I thought one of the threes he made was a really nice possession where he started with it on pick and roll, passed to Nance in the middle of the key, kicked it out to the corner, who kicked it to CJ, who kicked it back to Ant for an open 3. So yeah, it was, I don't know, I felt like I think he's turning the corner in the sense that he had a lot of good, strong drives and really good pull-ups in this game that I don't think he would have the confidence to do if he comes out and misses his first 3 or whatever, is struggling from 3 in years past. So it's nice to see that extra element of his game to be able to break the defense down and get buckets in the paint. His finishing has been pretty good this year. And yeah, I think going into this game, I want to say he was shooting 54% on 2-pointers this year. And last year it was at 40%. So just great improvement even with his slump shooting the 3 from inside the arc. And that'll help him out. Eventually, if he figures out that he can use that penetration to get better looks from 3, you don't always have to shoot a contested one. Because if you blow by people, then they can't come out and close out as hard as they have been. So, yeah, it's just a situation where I think Ant's learning the game, and it's starting to pay dividends. And eventually, once he starts hitting 3s at a normal rate, I mean, 40% tonight was good. So I think he'll be back to being Antomatic again.
Yeah, good old Antomatic, man. Good old Antimatic. Let's move on to the Nassir. Nassir Little, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from the three-point line, 2 for 3 from the free throw line. Solid game for Nas. This segues into our latest dono, Daniel G, a $5 dono. Appreciate it. Daniel, he says, they need to play Little a lot more. Maybe during garbage, take out more of the third stringers to give them playing time. You never know. Appreciate the $5 dono from Daniel. As far as playing more, 23 minutes is pretty good for Nas. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the type of guy who can play as many minutes as possible. I don't know why there's a little Nas peeping up out of the corner.
That.
That's awesome.
I was looking at the
touch,
YouTube
Krish.
Preview, and I'm like, wait, is that on Eric's shirt? Does Eric have Nas on his shirt? That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, another solid game from Nas. I like what he does out there. He's got to figure out. He's getting caught in pick and roll off ball picks a lot, leading to open threes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's Jeff Green was on fire in that first quarter, and then he gets a wide open three that rims out. But you don't like to give up that kind of shot in that situation, and you don't like to. I think it was his miscommunication that led to Levine getting a wide open three to tie the game in the Bulls game as well. So yeah, I just I really like what he's doing. Just clean up some of the off ball stuff, but on ball, I feel like he's really progressing.
Yeah, and it's just good to see him knock down some shots in this one. He should have been 1 for 2 from 3 and 6 for 9 from the field if he just caught on that play you broke down earlier.
Yep.
So I still think he needs to cut a little bit more, and that shot balance is fine. He's more of a slasher guy to attack the rim, cutter, threat and transition guy than he is a 3-point shooter at this point. Going into this game, he was shooting. Let me pull it up here. I don't know off the top of my head. He was shooting 31% from 3 going into this game, and then 1 for 3. He's not that caliber shooter yet, and he shot 35% last year. He had a hot start to the season, then tailed off near the end, and a lot of people were expecting him to take a jump, be like a 37% 3-point shooter. I said pump the brakes. He's only had one good stretch during his career where he shot the ball well, and that was the start of last season. It wasn't the whole season, though. He really struggled after the All-Star break. He's still maybe has some refining to do with his jump shot. It comes off his hand a little weird, has a little side spin. So it's a much smoother, and it's much better than it was his rookie year, but I don't think it's all the way there yet. But that doesn't mean he can be a productive player. Just as a guy that can bring energy, play good defense, he just has to have, as you said, do a better job getting through some screens. And then offensively, just cut in scenarios where there's a cut there instead of spotting up. If there's ever a scenario to cut, he should always cut. And that play was a perfect illustration of it.
Yep. And, but yeah, overall, I like that he's getting minutes. As long as it's not like 12 minutes, he's getting consistently around 20 minutes or more. So I like to see that. And I like that our coach is rewarding him for seemingly playing really hard and giving that energy. So, I just hope that continues to feed him minutes because, as Ahmad says in chat, I think that'll pay dividends down the road in the playoffs.
Yeah. He let him play through his mistakes. That'll only make him better as a young player. And today, off-ball screens, work with him on it because he's definitely, I think, a coachable player. So I'm expecting Nas to continue to improve as this season goes along. Let's say goodbye to Lil Nas in the bottom right corner. Goodbye, Lil Nas. Shout out Robert Welko Covington, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks. Defensively, he's getting better, Eric. And still slashing 2 for 2 from inside the arc. He has a nice little drive, splits a couple defenders, and knocks down a floater, man. He's been inspired by Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. These guys have finally inspired him to be slashing Rocco the slasher. And 2 assists in this one. That's pretty solid for Robert Covington. So he's diversifying a little bit offensively lately. I like it.
Yeah, and so he said he wanted to be able to break defenses down off the dribble over the summer. And then he kind of backtracked on that before the season, said that's not really his game. But that has been an evolution. When they run out on him on the 3-point line, he's making the right decision to drive the lane. One of the plays, one of his assists was a play where he had the lane. He could have just gone and laid it in or dunked it, but he actually dumped it off to Nurk, who laid it in. I thought that was really unselfish of him to hopefully try and get Nurk going in this game. Nurk didn't really get going offensively, I guess, but I thought that was a great teammate pass there, and it like Nurk says in the commercial, make two people happy. So instead of Rocco just laying it in, he gets an assist and Nurk gets a basket. So I like that he's looking for Nurk on those drives, and then also he's making most of his shots when he does drive in there, and he's not really forcing it either. He's taking good shots. So I like kind of his evolution of how he's playing off the dribble, and it's not really like as cringe as you would think it would be given his career so far.
Yeah, and given what some people would say about it. James Hatch has a great idea. He says we should just ISO Rocco every play. I think that's a phenomenal idea. I mean, look, 2 for 2 from inside the arc and 2 assists. I mean, just extrapolate that over like 10 times the isolation possessions, and he's going to be like LeBron James, basically. So I absolutely agree with that, James. Great suggestion. Let's move on and talk about Yusuf Chef's-Kiss Nurkic. 6.7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. Offensively, not one of his better games. This was one of his games where it's like, okay, he's not finishing like he needs to, especially early. He had a couple missed lay-ins that were just like, all right, you got... What's up? Misses first. And it was like, it wasn't necessarily... One was a good post move. He just blew the left-handed finish. So it was just like, you got to finish at least one of those, man. You got to finish a little bit better on those, but it's like, that's an outlier compared to this year. And it's funny because it's like, people act like that's how he is every game, and he's been insanely efficient all year long. Let me pull up his stats on the season, at least going into this game. I think he's still shooting above 60% from inside the arc, so it hasn't been an issue this year for the most part. Yeah, he was shooting 61% from 2 going into the season, so 77% from the free throw line as well, for reference. So he's been an efficient player this year. His finishing has not been a problem, but tonight there was a couple of possessions where I was sitting here saying like, Nurk, you got to finish those. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we ran the cross screen play, first play of the game again today, that I broke down last game. So if anyone wants to know what I'm talking about, look at the first pictures of Brent's breakdown from the game against the 76ers. But so we try to get him going, and then second play we post him up against the smaller guy. I know this is gonna sound like an excuse. I hate playing against smaller guys, man. I hate it. I can't stand it. Like, because everyone just expects you to be able to score, but there's like a lower center of gravity, when they're pushing on you, and you go up and they're like hanging around your waist and pushing off and stuff, and they never call those fouls on smaller guys because they just expect you to play through the contact or whatever. But in my opinion, I'd rather go at someone that's my size or bigger than guys like Jeff Green and JaMychal Green, who aren't going to try to go for block shots, so you can't pump fake them. If you back them down, they'll like try to take a charge or pull the chair on you or stuff like that. Use like small guy moves, stuff like that. So I'm not the type of person who's like, oh, Nurk's playing against a guy way smaller than him, he should have barbecue chicken all night. Like, that should be easy money. Yeah, he should score more. He should be more efficient. But yeah, I never liked that. So I kind of give bigs a pass when they play against smaller guys and they don't do well, because it's really annoying to me.
That's funny. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I get that too. That's the thing. If I play against smaller guys, though, I'll just take them out on the perimeter anyway.
Right,
Screw it,
yeah, but
so
Nurk can't do that, so it's like hard,
Yeah. If he was Chet Holmgren, he'd just take him out to the perimeter. But he's not. So I had to drop a Chet reference at least once tonight after what Gonzaga did to UCLA.
How much did they win by?
They won by, I don't know. I started watching more of the Blazer game down the stretch.
Okay.
I did miss some Blazer action a little bit because I was watching Gonzaga tonight, the number 1 team in the country for college basketball, take on the number 2 team in the country, UCLA, in a rematch of last year's Final Four. They won 83-63. So good to blow out UCLA in a matchup at the top 2 teams. Well, UCLA's not going to be a number 2 team, and Chris is trying to get himself a 5-minute ban, even though he's our graphics guy. But I will resist. Anyway, Yusuf Nurkic tonight, solid defensive game. I thought he played very solid defensively, and that's the thing. Like if he has a night where he doesn't shoot much and then kind of struggles to finish a couple possessions, like just as long as he's playing good defense, he's fine in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's a tough matchup, too, against a smaller guy, especially Jeff Green, who was shooting a lot of threes in the first quarter in particular. And then everyone's like, oh, Nurk's leaving his guy wide open. Well, he's got to help the guards on guys driving through the lane. So that's not just because he's giving up open threes to his guy, once again, doesn't necessarily mean he's playing bad defense or he's in the wrong spot or not guarding his guy or whatever. So, yeah, it's a situation where I still think he's trying to make up for other people getting beat off the dribble, and he's expected to do that. That's his job, is to protect the rim first and foremost. So if his guy's getting open threes, it's not always because he's playing bad defense.
Yep, I agree with that. Let's move on to Larry Benchhype Nance Jr. 2 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. 1 for 4 from the field, 0 for 1 from the 3-point line. What do you think of Nance tonight?
Nance was fine. Didn't turn the ball over, so that's good. I don't think his shots were bad, even though he missed some. So yeah, I thought it was fine. I also thought it was fine that this particular game he didn't really have to play. Now his minutes, I think he had been over 20 minutes the last 5 or 6 games, so that might seem kind of alarming that he only got 15 minutes, but you keep in mind when he would normally have come back into the game was the time where we had all our third string in anyway. So
I still don't like it though.
I don't like it either, but yeah.
I mean, I don't understand, especially a Denver team that was very small throughout this game, and you look at things, and Cody Zeller ends up playing. I don't know where is it at? Let's see here. Cody Zeller played 10 minutes, and Tony Snell played 11 minutes. Like those guys combined played 21 minutes, and Nance gets 15. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
That's true, but in the first half, the run we went on was when we brought our starters back in. The second unit was doing really bad at the beginning of the second quarter, and then in the beginning of the fourth quarter they did better than the beginning of the second quarter. I think that's
the part I don't understand. Like I agree with that, but like Zeller was the first sub in instead of Nance.
Yeah. I agree with that too, but it's been that way for several games where Zeller comes in and plays a few minutes and then gets taken out, and then Nance is the backup center with the rest of the second unit. I agree. Tonight we probably didn't need Zeller to play much, if at all, but
it's just like he's arguably our 5th best player. You could even make an argument that he's our 4th best player. Like compared to like Rocco and Nurkic, I think Nurkic is still more impactful than Nance, but I would take Nance over Rocco. Rocco plays 27 minutes tonight. Rocco's been solid. It's not to downplay Rocco. He's been better in previous games. I really like what Nance brings to the team in a multitude of ways. And it's just like those guys' minutes should be at least even, but it feels like for like Nance to play more than 25 minutes a game, everything has to go right. Like Nurkic has to struggle and Nance has to play phenomenal, and Nurkic maybe needs to get into a little bit of foul trouble, and then when Nance is in the game, they have to go on a run so that he plays a ton in the second half. And it's just like for everything to have to go right, for him to play more than 25 minutes, I think is kind of a shame to me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of somewhat agree with that.
But, I mean, tonight, obviously, you look at things and he had a great game, so I guess you could justify the 15 minutes, but I think he deserves to play more. He's been very good in previous games, so.
Mm-hmm. So the problem is, I agree with you for the most part that he should be getting Snell's minutes, but they are mostly always together playing those minutes too, so it's kind of weird that the rotations are like that. But yeah. Shout out to Snell too. You probably don't think this is this valuable, but Quick had an article today detailing how Snell is a guy who coordinates dinners and gets the team to get out and do stuff together on the road and bond and stuff like that. So good to hear that we have a guy like that.
Yay, Snell brings something to the team. I'm just kidding. I should throw a shot at him. Yeah, I mean, that article was cool. It's good to have, like, chemistry guys in the locker room. I'm just joking. I'm not trying to take away from that. But, I mean, we don't have a player card for Snell tonight, but he was 0 for 3 from 3, 0 for 4 from the field. I just thought
he shot it too. He missed it.
Yeah, I just thought he was... I was just hoping he would shoot a little bit better than he's shown so far early on in this season for the Blazers, because I think he's like below 35% at this point. And when he's coming in as a 57%er, small sample size, I know, but 57%er, I was expected at least 40. So, I mean...
David, incorrect. He is not forcing them to break social distancing protocols because they're all vaccinated and they have rules that they can go out for team functions as a group on the road. So
yeah, this team is pretty. I think this team has been pretty good about kind of handling the pandemic for the most part. So I wouldn't worry about that whatsoever. Alrighty, let's jump into tweets of the game. Oh, the blue background is back. Yay. Okay. I don't know if it's going to disappear again this time. But Larry Nance Jr., like 3 minutes after the game, said, I'm still tripping off this. How many times has this been done in an NBA game before? This dude went straight off the court, straight to his locker, straight to his phone so he can tweet about Greg Brown the third. So I thought that was funny.
Yep. It's cool. Also heard for that same article that Nance grabbed the game ball for Trendon Watford after he scored his first NBA basket and had all of the teammates sign it before he presented it to him. So that was another cool thing. Nance just seems like the ultimate team guy, and that's one of the reasons why I was so stoked when we got him. But yeah, that's crazy that that was the first thing he thought of to do when he went back to the locker.
Yeah. I love Nance's personality. I didn't know much about it before we went out and got him. I just liked him as a player. That's why I was campaigning for him. But to have just a guy like Larry Nance Jr. on the team has been a fun experience so far early on in this season. Tweet number 2, shout out Alan Garcia. He says, get Greg Brown and Nas in the dunk contest, #Blazers Uprise. Who do you think would win in a dunk contest, Eric? Nas or Greg Brown the third? In chat, I'll create a poll for you guys to get your opinion on this as well. What do you think, Eric?
Greg Brown.
You take Greg Brown?
Mm-hmm.
I take Nas. I think Nas has a little bit more hang time.
I think Nas is a little more powerful, but I just feel like Greg Brown can do more stuff in the air, but yeah.
Maybe, but like I've seen Nas throw down something during. Like I think it's definitely a toss-up. I don't think anyone would be favored. But chat, I want to see what you guys think. There you go. There is a poll. Who wins dunk contest, Nassir Little or Greg Brown? I'll end that poll here in a minute. Let's jump into the final 2 tweets of the game. We got David Lester. He says, great to not listen to Chuck's Dame theories at halftime tonight. #Blazers Uprise. If you don't remember the first game on TNT this year, Dame was just... Charles Barkley was just going on and on about Dame not being all in, but then he backtracked that and said Dame needed to just leave and was just all over the place, and it just sounded ridiculous. And Charles Barkley was not on the broadcast tonight, so you didn't have to hear him spout off complete BS about Damian Lillard in this one, so that was a nice reprieve. Although I didn't watch it because I was flipping between 2 games tonight, I'm sure a lot of people were happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Chuck. I think he's funny.
I don't either.
I
But that
never
whole
take
thing.
anything he says seriously, but that damn thing was ridiculous. And obviously not what was
See,
going on with this team. So yeah,
I could
and
have. I could. Go ahead.
he's been very high on the Blazers the last couple of years, and it hasn't worked out for him. So I'm kind of glad that he's off the bandwagon.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Oh, there goes the background. Rest in peace. But I just, I'm okay with him, and I would have been okay with that whole diatribe. Like, yes, it was ridiculous, and I could just sit here and be like, oh, this is ridiculous. But then when you have Blazer fans saying, Charles Barkley is making some really good points right now. He's so on point. When Charles Barkley, I'm not even sure he knew what he was trying to say during that whole diatribe. Yeah, that's the point where it got annoyed for me. So no Charles Barkley tonight. It'll be interesting. There was an article, before we move on to next week, there was an article about how Charles Barkley wants to retire somewhat soon, maybe in the next couple of years. It's gonna be interesting to see who they replace him with, because he kind of makes that show. You know what I mean? Like him and Shaq's dynamic kind of make that show go. And I'm not tuning in for serious basketball analysis, but they don't try and be serious. It's not freaking First Take or whatever, where it's just corny and horrible. And you got JJ Redick making Stephen A. Smith look foolish today because JJ Redick actually played the game of basketball. But it's going to be interesting to see who they replace him with. Long term, they want it to be Draymond Green. I guarantee you that. They want Draymond Green to replace Charles Barkley, but obviously that can't happen on a regular basis anytime soon, so it'll be interesting to see who they end up replacing Charles Barkley with if he retires in the next year or two. Do you have any candidates that you think they should look at?
I think because he's buddies with Shaq, a guy like Dwayne Wade might be considered, even though I don't know if he necessarily cares enough to do it full time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They just, given what their show has been, I don't like that idea, because Dwayne Wade would be somebody that provides serious basketball analysis, but that's not what their show is. It's they need somebody that's an entertainer that can also maybe provide some good basketball analysis on the side, but somebody who's entertaining in Charles Barkley's spot. That's why I think they want Draymond Green, because Draymond Green would be that personality, that entertainment figure, right? And Dwayne Wade, I don't know. I don't know if he.
Yeah, I like the Draymond. Maybe Chuck sticks around until then.
I hope so. Because
I'd be more worried about Elevator Ernie retiring, because that guy's a legend. And
absolutely. But I feel like it'd be
he's getting up there too. Yeah,
I feel like Dwayne Wade could replace him, or not Ernie. No. I thought you said Kenny. What am I talking about? Well, yeah. Ernie's a great host. I was thinking Kenny in regards to Dwayne Wade. If Kenny the Jet Smith retired, would be the perfect replacement for him. But if Ernie retires, I don't know who they'd go with there, because he's awesome. He's awesome. One of my favorite, my favorite host of any sports related show is Ernie Johnson. It's hard not to go with him. Anyway, enough inside the NBA talk. Let's move on. Well, let's end this poll. 73% said Greg Brown III, so 73% agree with you. People are sleeping on Nas, but shout out to Allison. She says Damon's unreal. Glad to have him back. I agree, Allison. Thank you for using hashtag Blazers Uprise in your tweets. Appreciate it. Were you going to say something on the poll?
I was just going to say, I mean, I'm not sleeping on Nas. Nas is a great athlete, and he's had some phenomenal dunks this year, and I've seen him in practice dunk contests do some amazing things. It's like saying, I don't know. I'm not going to go there, but, yeah. So,
I don't know where you're going to go with that, but...
anyways, it's not... If you have two really good people at doing something, it's not necessarily saying one is better than the other. I just think great.
No. I mean, if you have to pick one, you have to pick one, and you have to automatically be sleeping on the other, no matter what. That's just how it goes. This is Twitter, Eric. This is Twitter.
Yeah. This is YouTube, actually. But...
Yeah. Game-winning player of the week means the NBA just absolutely slept on Stephen Curry, according to Steph Stans. That's how it works around here on the internet, for no good reason. That's just how it goes, sadly.
Oh, man, James. Nas better in-game dunks?
I mean,
you just went between the legs.
I don't know. See, like Nas I think could do that too, but Nas I don't think would have the gumption to pull that off, you know?
I mean, Nas's dunk, what was it, last week or the week before, where he threw down on, who was it, Schengen or something? That was awesome, but I just can't agree with someone we just saw throw down for the second time in a game.
I think the difference is like a fast break dunker with space. That's more of like a dunk contest situation where like an in-game dunk would be like dunking on somebody or dunking through traffic.
Yeah.
Which I would take Nas in that situation.
I don't know. We've seen Greg Brown dunk on some people in Summer League. He just, in garbage time, hasn't really had a chance to do it yet.
James Hash said what Greg Brown III did was not realistic, which makes it even better if it's not if he did something that's not realistic.
Right. So, in a game.
In a game, yeah. I don't know. I get what he's saying, but how that sounded, I don't think that came out the way he meant it to. That's funny. I mean, it'd be fun. Just put them both in the dunk contest. And Anfernee Simons. Just make it a Blazer affair.
Blazer
I mean,
dunk contest,
that would be a better dunk contest than some other ones. But Ant has to, okay, if Ant returns this year, he has to push himself to be more creative. Because although he won it, I don't think his dunks were that good. If I'm just being honest, I don't think his dunks
I mean, the whole dunk contest was weird because of that COVID thing, but...
Yeah, that's true. But it was at halftime. That was strange. Like, it'll be on Saturday again. Hopefully Anfernee returns. I just want him to push himself a little bit more. Like, if he actually kissed the rim on that dunk, then that would have been insane, but he didn't. You know, so, like, he can get up there. He needs to figure out ways to be a little bit more creative, in my opinion. Go hire some of those YouTubers that are just, like, pull off insane dunks and have them teach a couple of those to Ant, because there are dunks that you see on YouTubers from, like, people who, like, dunk for a living. That's what they do. James Kilgannon, or whatever his name is one of those guys. I don't know if any of you know him, but they pull off some stuff that's just, like, insane, which they might be taking 50 tries, which Ant can't do in a dunk contest, but that's what I'd be doing if I was Ant. I'd be looking to one of those guys to maybe teach me a dunk contest dunk or two, maybe, you know, a couple days before the dunk contest during the All-Star break.
I agree with Airmaster, though. If he would have actually kissed the rim on that one, I know why he didn't. He didn't want to break his teeth, but if he would have actually kissed the rim, that would have been an all-time dunk, in my opinion.
Yeah, because of the risk. Because of the risk. And you could mess yourself up trying to do that. He just comes out, if he just pulled it off all smooth and was, like, fine, wasn't, you know, hopefully it wasn't looking like Isaiah Stewart after LeBron punched him, then that would have been absolutely legendary. I agree. But, I mean, we got Dennis Smith Jr., too. We got some dunk contest guys for
Larry Nance was in a dunk contest too.
Larry Nance, I mean, dude, our team could have such an insane dunk contest. That's crazy. We got maybe the best dunk contest squad, 5-man dunk contest squad in the NBA, in my opinion. Jordan Kilgannon, that was the name, not James. You're right, CJ the GOAT. I thought maybe I was butchering it, but yeah, that guy's a dunking legend. Anyway, let's went through team tweets of the game. We went through Brains Breakdown. We went through the player cards. That means it's time for Around the NBA. This is not updated.
While you're doing
I
that,
never update it. Here,
question about a non-Blazer. Do you agree with the suspensions for LeBron and Stewart?
LeBron should have been suspended more. He purposely punched somebody in the face. If you do that during a fight, you get more than one game, right? Yep. So what makes it more acceptable that he did it on the free throw line?
Yep.
What do you? I say he should have been suspended at least 3 games.
I agree, but I mean, Jokic only got 1 as well for.
I mean, Jokic should have been suspended more than 1. Jokic should have been like maybe 2. LeBron should have been 3, maybe 4. You can't just punch somebody in the guy on purpose in the middle of play.
Yep, he should have been suspended more. I don't necessarily mind the Stewart one just because you can't go that psycho crazy on the floor. But yeah.
I don't know. It's not like he did anything, though. You know what I mean? Like, he went psycho, but, like, he didn't do anything. So for him to get more games than LeBron, I thought was weird. Yeah. Like, which, I don't know. I thought the NBA might not suspend LeBron at all, because the Lakers, their next game was tonight, and it was nationally televised in Madison Square Garden, their only time in New York City this year. So I was looking at that like, oh my goodness, the NBA is probably pissed right now because there's no way they can't suspend LeBron. They're going to have to suspend him for this game, which we'll talk about in a sec on around the NBA. He should have been suspended 3 or 4 games, though. What does chat think? What do you guys think, chat? I thought it should have been 3 games. You think it was intentional for sure, though, right? Like, there's no question about that?
Yeah. Yeah. If you always suspend LeBron 1, you probably shouldn't suspend Isaiah Stewart. If you suspend him for 2, I agree with your 3 thing. 1 is weak, in my opinion. And not because I hate the Lakers.
Well, also because you hate the Lakers.
Anytime you, like, cheap shot someone, whether it's the Jokic play or that, I just don't. I think the intent has to factor in. And, I mean, when you just straight elbow or punch someone in the face, why do people do that anymore anyway? There's so many cameras, like, you're going to get caught doing it. It's not like, oh, the refs didn't see it, they're not looking, I can get away with it. No, like, everyone can see it eventually because it's all on tape. So, it's just, I agree with Eric Olson that it's a weak move, and you should probably discipline him a little harder if you want to take that crap out of the game.
Yep, I agree.
But I also like fighting if it's legit, like, beef, and I kind of like when there's tension or, like, a little bit of ill will between teams and stuff like that. That's always fun. And so, like, if you want to square up on someone, that's totally fine with me as long as they're both squared up. Outside of the whole, who was it with Rudy Gobert, and they just, like, started hugging or something? That was so weird. I forgot who that was with, but I don't like that. But I mean, I have no problem with sticking up for your teammate or whatever, doing that kind of stuff. But if you're just gonna cheap shot someone to the face, I don't like that at all.
Yeah. I don't understand why LeBron did that. That was such a strange play. LeBron isn't really known for doing that type of stuff, so I thought that was very ridiculous, man. And he'll say he didn't meant to do it, but he absolutely meant it. He looked at him and then, like, it was blatant. It was blatant.
Oh, it was Miles Turner. Yeah, thanks.
I mean, that was just a weird situation. Mm-hmm. So. Let's head around the NBA. We only had 4 games today, so didn't have much action to get through, and obviously one of them was ours. So only 3 other games that we have to talk about. The first game, you got Miami beating Detroit 100-92. Miami moves to 12-6 on the season. They had a great game from your 6th Man of the Year candidate, or your 6th Man of the Year pick, Eric. Tyler Hero had 31 points off the bench, 12 for 21, shooting from the field, and then 15 points apiece from Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Kyle Lowry. Jeremy Grant, 21 points for the Pistons, but he struggled shooting the ball, only 6 for 17 from the field. Cade Cunningham, 2 for 10, so he struggled from the field as well. Luka Garza got the start. They're playing some scrubs. They've been kind of injured. They had a couple good performances off the bench. Frank Jackson, 13. Hamidou Diallo, 10. It's surprising that Detroit was in this game given how bad Grant and Cunningham shot. They combined for 8 for 27, and we're in this game. So Detroit's a team coming up for the Blazers. They've played decently with Cade, I think, and Miami's kind of been struggling a little bit lately. So I don't know if you can read too much into this game, but did you pay attention to this game at all?
I was following along the score, but yeah, should have been a Heat win. Just like when we play the Pistons, should be a Blazers win, hopefully.
Yeah, but the Pistons were up 9 at the end of the third quarter. The Heat outscored them 33-16 in the fourth.
The Heat might have some games where they struggle scoring. So if they just have any offense in that game, they put away the Pistons easily with how good their defense is. But they go through stretches where they just don't score.
Yeah, and it's surprising with how good Tyler Hero was that they still struggled offensively. But Jimmy Butler not playing the best lately. Neither is Kyle Lowry, but I expect them to turn that around. Let's move on to game number 2. You'll have to see this. The Lakers lose tonight, 9-10 on the season. The Knicks take care of business.
LeBron was suspended for.
Yeah, the game LeBron was suspended for. Of course, Russell Westbrook gets a 31 or a 30-point triple-double there. 10 for 18 from the field. I mean, he shot the ball well, so good for Westbrook. And it still doesn't translate to wins, despite having Anthony Davis as well. Great third quarter from Russell Westbrook in this one. The Lakers were down pretty big. They were down 36-18 at one point. Whittled their way back into this game. Was only a 2-point game at the end of the third. The Knicks pull away. Evan Fournier, he's been having some tough games lately, but he has 26 points on solid shooting. Number 6 for 9 from 3 for the Frenchman. Game number 3, you got Portland and Denver. We haven't really talked about Jeff Green tonight. He had a really good game for the Nuggets. He was impressive in this one. 24 points, 9 for 6 from the field, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. He is the premier journeyman, Eric.
They said something on the broadcast that I agree with. It's like he'll have a really good season, like for the Nets or whatever, and then they just don't bring him back. It's kind of weird because I'm sure he wanted to go back to there, and same with I think he got picked up by Houston one year, had a good finish of the season, and then they don't bring him back, and he ends up signing a minimum somewhere else. It's kind of weird how he's been a journeyman considering he's had good stretches with teams. Not surprising that, you make some threes and have a good night if you're a small ball center against our team that can shoot.
Yeah. Maybe he just wants to play for every team, man. I feel like he's going to play for us before his career is done, but he's getting up there in age. I don't know when he's going to play for us, but he's 35 already. I feel like maybe next season, Larry Nance Jr. comes back as the backup 5, and maybe they want to stretch 4 next to him, and that's Jeff Green. That's my prediction going into next offseason. He's played for 14 different teams and has been producing the past couple of years, been shooting the 3-ball really, really well. He struggled this season for Denver, though. So this was a bit of a breakout game. He's only shooting 43% from the field and 20% from 3. So this was definitely by far his best game of the season. And of course, it came against the Blazers, but the Blazers still take care of business. And now we're ahead of Denver.
Yep.
Awesome. 10-8. They're 9-9. We'll look at the standings in a second. Final game. The Mavericks take care of business against the Clippers. They get revenge for the postseason loss last year. Kristaps Porzingis has put together some good games as of late. He has 30 points, 9 for 16 from the field. Gets to the line 10 times. How can Kristaps Porzingis get to the line 10 times and Dame only twice? Because Kristaps Porzingis doesn't go inside the arc. But I guess today he did. I guess today he finally decided to stop being a shooting guard and start. He remembered he was 7'3". I don't know, but he was 2 for 5 from the 3-point line. He was 7 for 11 inside the arc. So a good game from him. Luka, 26, 9 assists, 9 boards. Overtime win for the Mavericks in this one. The Clippers, 31 from Reggie Jackson, 26 from Paul George, but he only goes 7 for 23 from the field. Other than that, Eric Bledsoe, 1 for 2 in 25 minutes, 2 points. That's a funny stat line. So the Clippers and the Mavericks have been hard to figure out early on in the season. What team do you think is better as of now? Obviously, this is an overtime game, so very close. Which team would you put more stock in right now?
I think they're so close that it's hard to say. I was following along through chat earlier. Paul George hit a ridiculous 3, I guess, to send this into overtime. I don't know. I think the Clippers are so Jekyll and Hyde, man. They're kind of like us although it doesn't matter home or road. It's just some games they play well and some games they don't show up. I give a slight edge to Dallas probably, just because a lot of their losses recently have been because Luka hurt his ankle and didn't play the last couple games. But yeah, overall I think it's razor thin.
I would take us over both these teams. I'm just going to say right now I would take the Blazers. That's my answer to my own question. Let's look at the standings. Eric, things are starting to look good. Things are starting to look at least better. We're tied for 5th right now. Chris, always put us on top with the tiebreakers, man, just so we can get a little bit more hype, because I would be more hyped if we were in 5th right now instead of 6th.
Well, we don't have the tiebreaker, but yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, listen to the tiebreaker. You're right, yeah. You're right, because we lost 2 of 3. He's being smart. I'm being emotional. But, I mean, we're tied for 5th with the Clippers. Obviously, we don't have the tiebreaker, but we're only a half game out of 4th, Eric. So are you ready to admit that you were wrong in saying that we would be a top 4 seed?
Dude, I'm keeping my mouth shut. Those people are going to look stupid. They're already starting to look stupid, so... Yep.
I mean, right now, it's still... It bunched up more. We started to get some separation, but right now, 4th and 10th are only separated by 2 games. That's Dallas and Minnesota. Minnesota has won some games as of late to kind of battle back into things. I think the bottom 5 teams will remain the bottom 5 teams, especially after Sacramento fires Luke Walton and might go with Terry Stotts. I don't know. But OKC has been slightly impressive, but they've gotten some injury luck their way. I think that's the bottom 5 team. So I think you're already looking at your top 10 teams that'll at least make the play-in right here. I just hope the Lakers stay on that right side. That's what I'm hoping for. And Portland, would love for them to climb up this ladder here. They got games against Golden State and Utah coming up. That game against Utah is going to be important. They're only a game and a half back of Utah, which is in 3rd place right now.
Yep. Just take care of the Sacramento Kings. You want to beat teams you're superior to. And then maybe just find a way to split the other 2. But at this point, I'll take whatever home games or away games we win right now. But we're weathering the storm. That's all that we had to do. And so if you could find a way to win 2 of these 3 on the road and be 12-9 with that Detroit game and win that, and you're talking about 13-9 instead of 12-10, and you're a game better than your hope for this team after 22 games, then you're starting to be in really, really good position moving forward. So yeah,
I agree with that. One other thing I want to point out: 1-16, Eric. What is the record for the worst record of all time in the NBA for an 82-game season?
9-73.
Is it 9-73? Houston might put that in jeopardy. 1-16. They're on pace to be worse than that. That's horrible. Oh my goodness, I thought they'd be a little bit better in this, but they look bad, and New Orleans right down there with them. Let's look at the Eastern Conference, and I mean, Indiana won yesterday. They blew out Chicago. The Eastern Conference is just, it makes no sense, dude. Indiana's sitting there at 13th, but they're 8-11, which is maybe the best record I've ever seen for a 13th seed, 19 games in. So things are very bunched there. You got 4 teams at 10-8, Charlotte at 10-8. Washington is finally falling out of the top spot. Now that's Brooklyn. But, I mean, things are just extremely hard to figure out if you look at this Eastern Conference standings. Because, Miami hasn't been playing super well lately. Boston has been playing well. They've kind of been on a little bit of a run. So it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of separate here.
Mm-hmm. Philadelphia for 82 games has the worst record at 9-73. But the Charlotte Bobcats in a 66-game season were 7-59. So they had a slightly worse win percentage, but at 82 games, the record is 9. So
9, huh? Do you think Houston breaks that?
Yeah, I think 9 is so bad. I mean, I know they're not on pace to beat that, I don't think, but there's just no way that they are that bad, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they have some talent. It's not like they don't have anyone.
That's extremely rough. But the East is just fun to watch from across the country. You know, the West is a little bit more stressful. The East is just it's fun that the East is finally competitive, because it used to be like you'd have one insanely good team, LeBron was automatically going to make it out, and then you'd have 3 solid teams, and then everybody else would suck. And now I think it's just completely wide open. Even with Brooklyn there at number 1, I don't think Brooklyn is unbeatable by any means without Kyrie Irving. So it's going to be fun to watch the playoffs in that conference, in my opinion, and even the playing games, because you could get a solid team like Philadelphia in there.
Poor Philly and Cleveland right now, man. I feel so bad for them.
And even Milwaukee has had some tough injury luck. It's going to be interesting to see if they can make their way up to where Brooklyn is. I mean, they're only 3 games back of Brooklyn, so I think they'll be fine.
Apparently, Chris thanks for paying 92 games this season instead of 82.
48-44. Great record prediction, Chris. I agree with that. We're gonna go 41-41, and then we're gonna go 7-3 in the playoffs. That doesn't even make sense.
Nice try, but no, we're gonna be better 40.
I'm wrong. There you go. I said it 3 times. Clip that. Don't clip that. Anyway, let's move on to the next 3 games. You got Sacramento tomorrow night on the road. Let's win a road game. Okay? Does that sound good? I want to win a road. Sacramento, they're not that good. Let's do it. I agree. Come out with intensity. We got enough for us tonight.
Harrison Barnes hit like 8 threes or whatever.
Harrison freaking Barnes. Yeah, don't let him score 36 again. That would be bad. Get some revenge. They beat us in our place, and they were the only team to do it this year, so let's beat them in their place. Let's do it. Let's have a big game. Nurkic loves playing in Sacramento, too. Besem in chat says Nurk game. Yeah, let's get a good Nurk game. He loves playing there for whatever reason, so take care of that, and we're sitting good going into 2 tough games. I mean, I'm just ready to already be done with this road trip because I'm kind of scared. Like, oh, we're talking good vibes now. We've won 4 in a row at home, and then you know how this team is on the road.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not dreading this road trip, but I'm just like, I'm uneasy. Like, I don't want the good feelings from tonight to just go out the window because this team goes on the road.
Yeah, and to extrapolate that a little further, if you take out the game Dame didn't play, I think we're 7-3 in the last 10 games Dame has played. So yeah, it's pretty good overall.
It's just like if all those games were on the road, what would we be? We'd be like 2-8 if this team kept playing like how they did on the road. So it's just I don't know. I'm tired of going on the road and being like, oh no, we're on the road. I'm expecting the worst. Like, I don't want to go into road games like that. So
yeah,
hopefully they turn that around during this trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got that's the thing. You do that, and you come home, and you have 2 games that you should definitely win against a 4-13 Detroit team and a 4-12 San Antonio team.
Yep.
So this 3-game trip is crucial.
It's also why being 2 games above 500 now is a nice cushion. Because let's say we do lose the Warriors and Jazz game, but win the rest, we're still sitting at 13-10, which I definitely take if you gave me that before the season.
Yeah, agreed. So that's our upcoming schedule. That is around the NBA. Anything else that you got for this game, Eric?
No, just a little stressful early on in this game, but glad we pulled away and never really let them get back in it. So nice to just take care of business. Much like the Philadelphia game, it doesn't really matter. Just win the game and not look back and think that we had a chance to beat them at home without Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, and we blew that opportunity. So good to have a nice game tonight and to hold them to 100 points, even with their hot start, thought was pretty good.
Yep, I agree with that. So the Blazers get the win over the Nuggets, a good victory that they needed to get with the Nuggets missing Jokic. We'll have another stream for you guys tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. And then Thursday we won't have an episode of Blazers Uprise Live due to Thanksgiving, so we'll be back again Friday. We'll have another game then. That'll be, as we said, that'll be Golden State, so that should be a fun one on that Friday night. But we'll see you again tomorrow night. Hopefully we're talking about a road victory, which has been rare to come by this season. Hopefully we can see the team that we saw tonight tomorrow against the Sacramento Kings, because if we do, I think we'll take care of business. Other than that, follow us on Twitter. Twitter handles are in the description box below. Check out the mailbag that I dropped earlier today if you want. We answered some good questions in that, so that is maybe, if you want, some more thoughts on some things, go watch that. Other than that, anything else you want to plug, Eric?
No, Dro thinks we're going to beat both Golden State and Utah. Zach thinks we'll be 13-9 after 22 games. So some positive vibes. Hopefully you guys are right.
Yeah.
And appreciate everyone for watching tonight. It's been a lot of fun recently, more fun than the last road trip. So hopefully we don't go back to having games where we're disappointed and frustrated and have bad game plans and stuff like that on the road. At least play well even if we lose, so we have good stuff to talk about. And thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate it all.
Yep, and appreciate everybody that donated. Appreciate the mods: Trevin, Reese, Jackson, Zach, and Krish is he's more the graphics guy, but he did remove a comment that said #ban Krish. I said ban Krish if you think I should give Krish a 5-minute ban, and I didn't realize this until later, but he removed the one #ban Krish message. So I don't know if that's the first message he's hidden, but he realized he truly has mod powers. So I appreciate Chris for the help with the graphics, though. We're rolling out new around the NBA graphics, just going more game by game with the graphics on that. So I think that works a little bit better. And I appreciate all of you for tuning in and making us a part of your Tuesday night. We will catch you again tomorrow night. Short turnaround, less than 24 hours. Hopefully that's another stream like this one. And until then, have a good rest of your night. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.